September 2022. It's a spontaneous trip to the British Museum. I think it's worth noting that prior to this time I've never put paint to canvas, but I've always been interested in art. So follow me as I explore more. Oh, sorry, open bag. It's a crazy world we're living in. Allow me, I tell?
Zero lies, all facts. We catching a bus?
Let's catch it. As you might can tell, we didn't make the bus, but we got on a lime scooter bike on our way to the British Museum, so follow us.
The cop is right there. Is it gonna say something?
No, might try to. It's like, you'll never catch me, copper. Thanks for your service. That's all you have to do. A couple black people say that to them, they go, you're not all that bad. You just probably saved some lives. Wait, where are we going again?
You said we're going to the British Museum.
Oh, yeah. So for those who are new to this scooter life, I simply booked this trip via my Uber app. But the number one thing to know is you must know where you're going to park the bike prior to parking it. Otherwise you're going to spend a lot of time looking for a bay when you could have done that prior and saved yourself a lot of time. So be smart.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, because it's mouse gone.
I'm a bit wired.
Good. Enjoy it.
Oh, is this what it feels like? I'm high.
Caffeine.
This is what it felt like that time that I did the...
Well, I'm on lion's mane, caffeine,
Remember I had
and
one
some
for
herbs.
breakfast, 2 black teas, lion's mane, and now that mocha. I am lit.
Lit like a what?
Big.
The British Museum is one of the world's largest museums in the entire world, so you will get lost, so be careful. It was established in 1753 and opened to the public in 1759 and houses over 8 million items. I love these liminal spaces.
What?
I love these liminal spaces.
Space in between where you are and where you're destined to be.
All right, poet.
Thank you, Layla Delia. She taught me about liminal spaces. I'm not gonna lie, like Layla Delia helped me manifest my life. I promise you. I want to tell her thank you one day. She was the person to tell me about liminal space. Because I learned about her during the pandemic, where it was a liminal space for me. Pandemic was, at least. And it was like, this is just you preparing yourself for that next step. And boy, was she right.
Wow. That's another, obviously, centaurs are my team as well. And his chest cavity. In his armpit, one get knee in his armpit. So I was saying to Lisa, just if you're scared to offend someone, that's the energy you're going to give across, and you end up offending somebody. So just be light with your energy and see how things start to turn out for you. I feel like a question some people might ask is, how do you get into that energy? Just do it. Just do it. Because if you're in the frame of mind to be like, I don't know how to, then guess what? You don't know how to. So it's about just doing it, being light with it in the sense of not slow, but just calmly moving. And it makes you feel like you can do anything. Because when you're too tense, that's what creates a lot of unsmooth maneuvering. because you're concerned about something, so that's blocking you from just flowing. So you have to find different ways to be smooth, be calm, and you'll find you'll be able to do a lot more things. You won't be so, I can't do that. Like, what will people think? You won't do that if you're just in a certain flow, a certain ease. Oh, we be walking in some circles, boy.
Yeah. But we didn't come from this way.
Oh yeah, so now, yeah.
Spider-Man got that from him.
For real.
The tradition for coming.
Hey Siri, how long ago?
Bitch, read a book.
You said that hella loud.
I didn't realize.
You said that. I swear she heard you.
But you need to go study our book, but she asked Siri.
Oh Jesus, she's
Look at
like,
them lazy, you know?
look at
Them
this
lazy, they didn't study them book. The Egyptian era was like millennials ago, because it's BC, before Christ.
Lisa, you going viral. I'm gonna put that on the net.
Them need to study them book. Hey Siri, what's a mummy? Your mother.
Oh, dear. Poor girl's gonna feel she's dim.
First of all,
Maybe
she
not.
has on a belly skin and crop shorts. She's good. She has her life set out already. Because here's the thing. You know why I know that's lazy? Because they have captions on everything. So
Nah,
if
they
you really
did.
wanted to know, you would read it.
Oh, dear.
But my girl came here with her belly skin and her hair in the little twist up things and was like, Siri, do the work for me because I'm lazy.
But this is how we probably all were at 9 years old, or however
I
old
didn't
she
have
is.
Siri.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. So if we did, we would definitely be using that.
You know what we had? My mom bought Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah, that's fine. But if at any given opportunity, was you not using the calculator over using your calculation in your mind? Of course, it's like, why?
Well,
Like,
also-
I want the calculator.
Also,
So
I'm
that was our theory.
I'm better at language.
That's what obviously.
Maybe because I used it more.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
served you. Whereas, as an only child, I think I was depending on working stuff out for myself because I was maybe told off for doing something, and the only way I could stop that from happening is if I started becoming more logical. Maybe. I look forward to doing my first canvas.
That would be.
That's what I
They're
did for my
very
grandma.
into Christian culture. They're very Orthodox Ethiopian.
There we go. Ethiopia. That's right. Guns. I almost went so close, butt my head on the thing. I wanted to put
Don't pull at me. You'll have another.
Jaden Smith said something really on the money, and he basically said, if Drake has an idea and he does amazing wonders with the idea, it should be a good thing rather to use his ideas to jump on your own platform. This is amazing. Like using someone's idea. So I had to meet this girl. She's following me while she talks, so her voice is leaking into it. So basically, you're supposed to use people's ideas to build upon. That's how we have the ideas we have. Like for example, obviously the MP3 player, iPods, all of that stuff. That was based on a cassette portable cassettes. So if we never had that, then we wouldn't have the iPods. So it's fine to use other people's ideas as long as you don't feel like you're stealing, because that means you think you're doing something wrong. So if you think you're doing something wrong, what did you do wrong? So that little old man gives me an idea, makes me think. If your intentions are pure, it will come across. That's it. If you're doing it for reasons of fame and all of that stuff, it's going to detach or take away from what it is you want to give or make come across. They really wanted to preserve these artifacts and these things, which is for the future, for the greater good. So that's why I believe it's lasted this long. If it was just out of vanity and to stop others, I don't want no one to then that's what also is going to come across. Probably hence why you have some of these things have booby traps, because they was bent on making sure that this does not get in the wrong hands, so they went to extreme measures. If you are very concerned, and this is going to sound so obvious, but follow me. If you are very concerned on how people think of you, that is going to be your dominant thought and your dominant force. Meaning, that's going to direct how everything you say comes out. And a way I think to combat that is just generally being like, we have free and light vibes, like constantly meditate on that, constantly have that type of conversation, constantly steer rather conversations in that way. And then speaking in public places won't feel so difficult, because your intentions are just of that, about the message, not about the vanity, not about how you feel and how you look, just by expression. So that idea came to me and I said, I'm going to share that. So it comes across simply. Like it comes across when you're more concerned about how you look than what you are saying. That's fire.
It's like if you want to chop someone, you can do it different ways. You can stab, and then you can different ways of using that weapon.
She got a point. I love those shapes. So here's the thing. Look at this. So it's making me think. Things with detail are things that are about longevity, maintaining legacy. So the more you're about that energy, is the more you're going to put the detail and the quality in things. Whereas if you're more about quick turnover, then you're not going to spend so much time on quality. And that's why things can look cheap, things can look disposable, because that's the energy you're giving across, because you're like, I quickly have to get this. So you're in desperate mode. So when you're in desperate mode, you cannot do stuff like this. Even thinking of doing something like that would trip you out, because you'd be like, I can't wait that long. Why can you not wait that long? You feel you don't have time? But if you feel like you don't have time, you cannot give it quality. Just a thought. Yeah, now you're up now. Focus on the jokes, you get the jokes. Focus on the light, you get the light. Focus on the stuff that doesn't work. Details. Looks like Shakespeare. Oh, it is Shakespeare. It's a tiny baby man.
She's the literal definition. I had to carry this name.
Then Europe is it's interesting because I can see all of the influences just flooding into the European teethage. And I call it teethage because that was their intent. They didn't want to trade, they just wanted that. Give me that. And I don't want to give away anything to get that. And that was the energy, which is why it's scorned on, because we have civilized, hopefully, a lot of us, to find more win-wins. But sometimes people are desperate to move a certain thing forward, no matter who it might disrupt, and then we get these violent behaviors. I think that's, is this a different Europe? To further what I was saying, to do this type of work, you really need to have a freedom and possibility and focus and consistency to pull this up. But this is gorgeous. Now think to yourself, is there something that you know you want to do but you feel like you don't have time? You need to do it to inspire other people, like other people inspire you. That is the ultimate giving back. So if you have an idea, see it all the way through and inspire us. You got all the time in the world. I think a good way to look at life is every moment you are concentrating on something, that's a realm, that's a time, that's a moment in time that you may not ever get back. So whilst you are doing the activity, just be there, enjoy it fully, and you will have a fulfilled life, because that's how you're treating it. You're literally being there in the moment, not afraid of the next moment, not afraid of what's to come, how people might react to it. You're just here in the moment, creating and giving all that is you. And I feel like that is the way to live life, rather than being like, oh, I can't wait for this holiday, I can't wait for this, can't wait. Because that energy pulls you out of the now. And therefore, you don't get the full you. You don't get what we need to, again, inspire yourself and inspire others. So do your best to not let your ideas and thoughts pull you out of the now. I feel like everything is about listening. So the more we listen with intent, again, with the intent to understand, is the more we take in. And I feel like when it comes to languages and stuff, foreign languages, because it feels foreign and we're talking of it in a foreign sense, then it makes things more difficult to understand. So even when it comes to race, when it comes to people in different areas, if we don't walk and move with the energy of this person or this culture is a part of me, we won't have an effort to want to understand and to learn. We will tend to reject things because we're like, I don't understand that, they're so different from me. When we start to think and talk like that is when we become opposite to people. Similar to why I think wars happen, is because these two nations are so feeling as though they are opposite and they do things so differently that they reject each other in such a harsh way that things can only be sorted in war, and that's what they think. But if we start to think of union and start to find reasons why we are the same, is the more we'll have union and we'll have people coming together. I think that's particularly relevant for us black people, and not just us black people, because even though I say that can start separation, if we just look at that in every day-to-day life, then I feel we will find more union. And if we take our time to learn and take our time to consider other people's differences and why they might be quite difficult to love, because maybe they've gone through a lot of things where life has taught them that, so they're slower to open up because they feel that they've had a lot of harsh treatments. So again, the messages that I'm submitting is that if we're just more light and slower to react, slower to throw our ideas on what we think is happening, and just let it play out. Not be so concerned with time, because when we're concerned with time, that's what breeds frustration, because we're constantly, I just got to move on to the next, got to move on to the next. And when we're like that, we have less time to observe, less time to understand things, less time to present compassion and patience. We start to look at things oddly because we feel that we are running out of time. So slow down and understand that this moment that you're having will never happen again. And that's not to worry either, because that is also an extreme part of the spectrum, to have that thinking like, oh my gosh, life is so precious that if it runs out, it's all over. No, energy never dies, so also be relaxed in that energy, and you shall see all of the blessings that will come to you. I'm sorry, we're looking for the Japan parts, level 5.
If you go back into Egypt, turn to your right, take the first left turn.
Left turn.
And you'll find stairs, take the level 5.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Oops, let's go, we can go, can we go through this way as well? Or just go? Oh, alright, that was kind of racist.
No, not you. Go back to your place. Please go back to me.
If you want to be received well, again, you have to put an emphasis on quality. And if you are thinking on if other emotions are leaking in to that moment, then that's what you're going to be displaying. So if your desire is to give quality and for it to be felt in a certain way, that is the energy you have to be in order to give that off. But I think in this modern day, we're so focused on our mind and in our mind so much that it's often difficult to portray what it is we want to, because we are too focused on the vanity of it and how it's coming across. At least, well, that's how I feel. I've been doing things and a lot of things that I might have blocks in, because it's more, or I find myself sometimes being in an energy of, I'll show them, I'll do this to prevent this, rather than just doing it for the pure reasons I want to do it for. Like, oh, wouldn't that be amazing to produce something in this way and get this reaction and make people feel how I felt when first hearing a certain song, first seeing a piece of art. So I think we need to focus and put all the energy in there and be aware of when the ego steps in, which can create vanity thinking. get very curious with whatever it is, because being curious makes you ask questions. It gives you a thirst for questions, and the more questions you have, the more interest you will show, the more things you find yourself involved in and being around, because you have a curiosity for it. So your energy starts to bring you around those things, because you constantly are thinking of those things, constantly are interacting with those things. So guess what? Those things start to be attracted to you. So it's a thin line between what it is you desire versus what you don't want. And sometimes when we have too much of an emphasis on what we don't want, that is the focus, making it draw closer to us, because that is the dominant thought, that's the dominant emotion. So take time for yourself so you can understand when those things are happening, and just ever so slightly shift towards what you want. Doesn't have to be completely extreme, just enough to create a momentum forward to whatever it is you desire. Or as I was saying, their reasons for doing things becomes about vanity, it becomes about things that is opposite to what doing sculpture, painting, any art is about. It needs time, it needs focus, it needs consistency. Just like anything, look at it like this, for anything to live, you have a pet, you have a child, if you don't give it enough attention, guess what? You can put it at risk of death. So with everything, go and do it, Liz. Hello! So if you don't give things enough attention, it will die. So it's the same thing with your ideas. Some things need more attention than other things. Some things has a different pattern of attention. So this is why some people can juggle multiple different things, because they have found the pockets, the places to be at the right time, knowing when to move on to the next module, task is important, because that way what happens is you start to get the rhythm of something, and it then makes it less difficult, easy for something to go off track, because again, you're paying enough attention to it. Even like with a conversation, if you're having a conversation with someone, then your mind wanders on breakfast, this and the third, and you're not able to be honest in the moment. Guess what? You lost interest with that person, that thing, because your mind was too focused on the results, too focused on the next level. And when you're like that, when you're like that with anything or anyone, if you're thinking of the next thing, like as soon as you get in there, like a business meeting for example, you're like, as soon as I get this money, I'm going to do this. You give that energy across, and you will lose someone's interest, because they can feel that you think you're hiding it because you're not saying it with your words, but your body language and the way you are rushing the conversation comes across. So slow down with everything and find a pure and authentic rhythm of what it is you want to do and say. Oh my gosh, look at it. There's a crow. Oh. The top corner, just like where I put it on my single. I feel like people that are like really good at what they do find an energy that is not intimidating to whoever they're working with, or I've got to show you this. or people have such a relaxed vibe with the person that they trust. That's all it is. In order for someone to be a professional, you have to be given so many reasons to people that they can trust you with whatever it is. So when people don't trust you, then they're going to question everything you're doing and wonder if you know what you're doing because you're giving signs that you don't know what you're doing. So therefore, it's about giving a lot of attention to the details of whatever it is you are giving, not selling, because as soon as you get into that energy of selling, we don't want to be sold to because we have negative connotations. So it's about reframing those ideas enough that people can trust what you're saying. Because sometimes, again, you might be in your head thinking like, I hope this comes across well. And if you're doing that, you're distracting from your message, you're distracting from your aim. So give whatever it is you love and want to do enough attention that it has opportunity to grow. Yeah, sure. Later.
Independent today to do a good deed. Thank you. We've got a good-hearted soul here. This one is to stop organ harvesting. They are put in labour camps, persecuted, tortured, and the blood is taken and put on medicals. That does have to be something they've forgotten to do it. And up to 100,000 are murdered by the Chinese government for their organs every year. And yeah, that says Jen Shanman, truth, compassion and tolerance, truth, compassion, forbearance. It's a solution, and it's an individual solution for all of us, so we can only change ourselves. And Falun Gong is a way, it's one way of 84,000 ways to cultivate ourselves. This is a way, it's a free practice, meditation, gentle exercises for the energy system to harmonise us to the universe. And it's very deeply healing and purifying as well.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Go to the website and check it out. It's free.
Thank you so much. You know what?
So you can have that.
But you know what grabbed my attention?
The meditation
Was the way how he seems so intensely peaceful and still. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there was no fidgeting. It's very focused. And to me, again, just like art, whatever shows a certain level of focus is gonna draw me in because I'm like, wow, like you are really focused in here. So that must mean this is very relevant to you.
I remember when I was little feeling, I think I was lost for a little bit in Chinatown in New York. I don't know why I have that memory.
What if sometimes we have memories of ideas we had younger? Like you was watching a film or something and was like, oh man, you sure could get lost over there. I wouldn't want to be there. You look like it's easily lost. Mixed in with watching like something like Home Alone or some shit.
Yeah. I do remember, I think I got my ears pierced in Manhattan in Chinatown when I was little.
Is it?
Yeah, but I was...
So,